A 60-day window to end the war with Iran has closed with no deal and the world's most sensitive oil choke point still blocked. The 14-point memorandum, signed June 17 by President Trump and Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, expired August 17 after its maximum 60 days with no deal, no renewal, and both sides preparing for a return to full combat. The location is reported as both Versailles and Islamabad. That conflict is unresolved. The agreement had promised an end to military operations on all fronts, including Lebanon, phased removal of the U.S. naval blockade within 30 days, Iran arranging free safe passage and clearing central lane mines for 60 days, U.S. termination of oil sanctions, access to frozen funds and a reconstruction package described as more than $300 billion, and final nuclear talks reaffirming Iran would not seek nuclear weapons. On August 18, Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf said the Strait of Hormuz will stay closed until Washington meets four commitments: lifting the naval blockade, releasing frozen assets, ending oil sanctions, and halting military operations and threats on all fronts. Iran's foreign minister added Iran will not accept a ceasefire, only a deal to fully end the war, warned Gulf states not to assist the U.S. military, denounced U.S. pressure as economic terrorism and attributed shortages and price rises inside Iran to the U.S. blockade. The collapse at sea is measured. Pre-war, the Strait carried about 130 to 140 vessels daily, about 20% of global oil and significant liquefied natural gas, roughly 20 million barrels per day. Recent tracking shows about 6 to 11 commodity vessels daily, with a 10-day average near 11 and more than 80% forced to the Omani and southern route. As of August 20, trackers and the Joint Maritime Information Center put commodity transits near 9 per day with exports near 2.99 million barrels per day, an 85% drop. On Sunday, August 17, only 3 ships were tracked passing, described as single figures. The Hormuz data tracker reported 36 total crossings as of August 21. GPS and AIS jamming since mid-July has degraded reporting, so counts are conservative lower bounds. Oil was cited at $83 to $85 per barrel August 19 to 20, $84 to $85 in one account, and $83, $84, $85 in another, contrasted with warnings that without intervention prices would have hit $300 to $350. Gasoline hovers above $4 per gallon nationally, and on Wednesday, August 20, diesel in California hit $7 per gallon, about 30 cents more per gallon than a month earlier amid a global refinery crunch. The administration's description does not match the water. The president said the naval blockade of Iranian ports remains in full effect after a partial lift under the memorandum, that the blockade is 100% successful, that the strait is currently open with many boats transiting, that all water mines have been removed or detonated, and that the United States has possession and complete control, even posting August 18 an image labeling the strait as new U.S. territory. Tracking, correspondent reporting, and Iran's own claim of control show severely restricted traffic, with Iran blocking about 90% of strait flow as described by Representative Don Bacon. Independent verification of full mine clearance is limited after June reports of about 80 mines in central lanes. On diplomacy, the contradiction is direct. On August 18, the president said no talks with Iran are ongoing or scheduled, and negotiations might resume, maybe at some point only if Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. That conflicts with Special Envoy Jared Kushner's August 17 claim of robust, positive, active conversations with Iran. The president also claimed a back channel with Iran's IRGC, which the IRGC denied. Military experts Admiral James Stavridis, Representative Don Bacon, and Colonel Peter Mansour said the administration is prioritizing blockade and sanctions over a military campaign, and that pressure will take months but not years, requiring patience and bipartisanship. Washington's answer shifted from resumed strikes to economic strangulation. On August 20th, the president threatened economic warfare and an economic D-Day via social media, warning sanctions on any country providing a lifeline to Iran after weeks without concessions and stalled talks. That builds on sanctions on foreign banks doing business with Iran in April 2026 and Treasury actions the week of August 11-15 against banks allowing Iran to retrieve overseas oil revenue, as reporting also cited the U.S. national debt crossing $40 trillion. On August 20, the United Arab Emirates said it is suspending all trade and financial dealings with Iran after a missile warning was detected. On August 18, a maritime monitor reported a ship struck by an unknown projectile while transiting the strait amid restricted traffic. The UK Maritime Trade Operations Report identified the Liberia-flagged bulk carrier Minoan Dignity outbound near Kasab sustaining engine room damage and a chief engineer casualty with Omani Coast Guard assistance. Allied friction escalated. On August 17th, the president threatened to bomb Oman, saying he would bomb the U.S. out of them if Oman strikes a deal with Iran on the strait that interferes with the U.S. peace process, and threatened to ban Oman, amid Oman-Iran talks supported by Qatar, which experts called bluster that risks excluding the United States. He also criticized South Korea for unwillingness to help on Iran denuclearization, cited 39,000 U.S. soldiers guarding South Korea from Kim Jong-un, a figure that conflicts with Congressional Research Service data indicating about 28,500 personnel stationed there, praised his very good relationship with Kim Jong-un, posted a 2019 photo, said he will meet Kim later this year after Kim responded to outreach, cited a 57-weapon arsenal disputed by South Korea, and directed Secretary Pete Hegseth August 16 to 17 to substantially reduce joint drills with South Korea before the annual Ulchi Freedom Shield exercises scheduled August 17 to 27. South Korea's defense ministry said exercises would proceed as previously notified, while the presidential office said it was reviewing the comments. Houthis in Yemen claimed an attack on a Saudi oil refinery with intensifying clashes in the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, blocking Saudi Red Sea oil exports and forcing routing via the Suez Canal. After 171 days of conflict as of August 17th, a widely reported count, though the exact start date is not verified, and extracted text and other counts cite 172 or 176, with one secondary reference to February 28th. The war so far has cost more than $37 billion, cited as $37.5 billion in one report, with an additional Pentagon request for $67 billion, cited as $67.1 billion, and high to severe munitions depletion. The USS Abraham Lincoln has been at sea more than 260 days continuously since its last meaningful port call, described as beautifully maintained amid family concerns about conditions. The destroyer USS Benfold suffered a complete engineering casualty and lost power for 4 days in the South China Sea on July 24th before being towed with power restored July 30th and repairs finished August 8th. At least 18 U.S. service members have reportedly been killed, including 4 killed by a missile attack during the period when a ceasefire was supposedly in effect. Bacon attributed 1,000 Americans killed by Iran historically, including more than 600 by Iranian roadside bombs in Iraq, and cited 1,000 Iranian ballistic missiles. U.S. strikes have set back Iran's nuclear program, according to the administration. What remains unresolved is whether Washington will negotiate over Iran's 4 demands, whether the expired memorandum will be replaced, including the fate of frozen funds and the more than $300 billion reconstruction package, what safe normal navigation actually means when open versus closed versus severely restricted claims collide with tracker data degraded by jamming, whether any U.S.-Iran talks are underway given the direct contradiction between the president and his envoy, whether full mine clearance can be independently verified, what the unknown projectile strike means for crew safety and insurance, and how long severely restricted, rerouted traffic with elevated shipping and insurance costs will persist as both militaries are reported to be preparing for a return to full combat. Like and follow for more stories that matter.